Welcome to, what is this, CP Sunshine, a Valve map. So how I do these map reviews is first I go over the callouts, and then I go over the rollouts, and then finally I talk about how you would hold certain areas and push forward to certain areas. So first thing we're going to do is the callouts, starting on R last. Obviously we have the spawn area. This is one-way glass, so the enemy team cannot see through it. You can't see through it either from the outside, but on the inside you can see through it. So using this glass, you can see where the enemy team is if they are pushing into your last. On the very left, your direction callouts are going to work wonders here. This is just top left. You can call this like white tile area slash the concrete in front of it as just like concrete, but for the most part it's just going to be top left. There's little objects scattered around like these barrels, you can call that out, like he's behind barrels or whatever. You got the bridge or catwalk behind the point. You have, in my opinion, this would be from the enemy team's perspective, the area where the stickies are would be in front of the point. So that's in front of the point, and this would be behind the point. On the right side, this is just right side. You can call this area like crates, or again, like concrete or lab, whatever your team wants to call it, like computers. But my team always just calls this right side. You got barrels or crates again. Down below, in the middle here, that is dungeon. Not this white concrete area, but the gray concrete is dungeon. All of this gray concrete is dungeon. On the top right, which is just right side, this wooden area, all of this here, all of this wooden area, where the stickies are, is lobby. Then we have upper lobby, and lower lobby. Most teams usually just group those three callouts together. Everything here can just be lobby, but if you ever want to differentiate, lobby is the middle, upper lobby is the top, and lower lobby is the bottom. In front of you, in front of me right now, is Shutter. I believe this, and on blue side, is the only, besides the spawn doors, is the only shutter on the map, so there should be no confusion. On this top left is balcony, or bats. Balcony or bats, either one. Just where these stickies are, outside of this doorway, is bats, or balcony. From lower lobby, I usually just call this lower, or lower door, entrance, whatever. Lower entrance, I mean. Whatever your team wants to call it, or you can say like valley side, which I'll get to in a bit. Some hiding spots as you're pushing out of last, right here on these crates and barrels, on the right side. This is a common hiding spot that person could be in, so if you are ever pushing out of this area, make sure you turn to your left. Down below in dungeon, right here, is a common hiding spot. Like, there's zero line of sight between this person and you, so usually a soldier will come down here, and as he's passing by, he'll just like shoot a rocket right there, and if he hears his hit sound, then there's someone hiding there. Otherwise, you just continue on. I've seen a couple people stand on that box. I do not think that's a good hiding spot, because usually a soldier is walking through here anyways, so you should see that. But still keep an eye on that box right there. And on second, all the way in this corner by the ocean, this bush is another common hiding spot that I've seen. So if you're ever pushing out of like Shutter or Bats, then make sure you glance over there. Making our way onto second, obviously down below I mentioned, that's dungeon, just down below the point. This tile area, right next to the point, This, the official callout is concrete. So you could call this area on last concrete, but for sure, this tile concrete area on second is concrete. Otherwise, if you don't want to call it that, and you want to use less syllables because concrete is 2 syllables, you can just call it the point or point. We have a spiral ramp on the other side of the point. I just extend it, and that's just the point to me. On the very left, I forget what this wooden platform is called. I know it has a specific callout. I just group it together with valley. This entire grass area on the left is valley, and I just group this wooden area together with it. On the right side, we have forward spawn, but you'll probably never call that out if you are defending second. This is just concrete. And then on the very right side is cafe. The reason why this housing area is called cafe is because there are tables and chairs here, and it looks like a cafe. Another hiding spot is on this box to your left if you are coming into cafe, and also on the right on this like grass thing. Those are two very common hiding spots in cafe, so make sure that you check those areas. The middle doorway, so left is valley, right is cafe, this middle area is choke. You'll notice these two side doors. It is sometimes common that you'll see stickies inside of it on either side, but nowadays I think demo men don't place them there anymore. I think they like place them up on choke instead, on the walls. Coming into middle, let me start in valley. An alternative callout for valley, by the way, is flowers, because there is a flower shop here in valley. So the European callout for this area is flowers. I believe there is also a callout for this concrete platform, but I don't remember it. It's just an extension to valley for me. I will always call this valley. And then we start from choke coming into middle. This thing in front of you, this is shed. On either side of the point, this is our shed, and that's their shed. The thing in the middle is bell tower, because it is a tower, and it has a bell on it. You got the point, and you have below point. The other house on either side of the point is Tetris. Since I'm on red team, I'm going to, or rather, it'll be in either team's perspective, the right side Tetris, this is our Tetris, and the left side Tetris is their Tetris. It's color coordinated, so since I'm on red, that's our Tetris. You got a forward spawn here. This is kind of a death corner. There's 2 death corners on this map. Being right next to forward spawn is kind of a death corner because you are in an enclosed area and it just takes like 3 rockets and you're dead, right? Don't be in this corner. I mentioned cafe. You got above cafe. That roof above cafe, you can call it like roof or just above cafe. And then behind either Tetris, like this rock area, this corner, this is death corner. Just like on process, you do not want to be in this corner. You want to continue rotating through so that you do not remain here. You will die if you remain in this corner. Okay. Any questions about the callouts? And you can write your questions in classroom chat if you don't feel comfortable talking out loud. Okay, then I will go on to the rollout. For Demo Man, wherever you spawn, I spawned right here, you are aiming to go out that left shutter door. So you're going to turn around, place a sticky behind you, wait for your medic to heal you to 260, and then you detonate yourself towards the shutter door. Your medic should then try to heal you back up to 260 if you are still within beam range. Otherwise, the most common thing to do is place either a sticky on the right side of this shutter door or directly in front of you. I like to use this line in between the white and tan area for red team as like where I would place my sticky. And you're aiming to hit a ramp slide on the top left area. So ramp slide, strafe to the right, then you walk towards bats. This rollout, in my opinion, is a little tricky at first, but as you get used to jumping as Demoman, it's just going to become very natural to you. You place a sticky on bats, and then you walk up to it. I find that walking perpendicular to this back wall is a good setup. So instead of going at an angle, I set myself up to go perpendicular. And as you're walking forward, you crouch and you detonate on yourself, and you should be going horizontal pretty fast if you did it correctly. Right there you saw I did it wrong. But something like that, and you hit a ramp slide through choke. It's a crouch det rather than jumping and detting. And it's... I'm bad at demo jumping, so I'm very inconsistent at it. I'm surprised I even got it. I'll try to do it one more time. Nope. I'm not being able to do it. The other one is, if you don't like going through choke, choke is the fastest, if you want to get to mid very fast. The other rollout for Demoman is from bats, you are going to jump over the valley wall and grab the health pack. When you reach like this red sign, that's when you start charging your sticky, round the corner, and you shoot it at their choke. Right? Sunshine is a rotational mid, so as you do your rollout as Demoman, you are telling your team which side to rotate. And if you do this valley rollout, your team is obviously going to rotate to the left. Because you are already on the left, it just makes sense that your team would follow you to the left. If you went through choke, and you did the choke rollout, then you can decide which way to go as you come into choke. And as you're doing your ramp slide through choke, you'd be charging your sticky up, and you're going to try to shoot it like in between this crack on the point. Soldiers. Pocket soldier. Let me get on the correct item. It's this one. Okay. Pocket soldier, just normal thing. Hit yourself out the door with 4 rockets, and you're trying to get below 80 health. That's because with the escape plan, the threshold for the fastest movement speed is below 80. If you are 80 or above, you are slightly slower than you could be, right? I believe, I'm not sure, that if you are below 80% health, you get 40% increased movement speed, but if you are 80 or above, you only get 20% increased movement speed. Around this point, where you see like this crack, the wall, as the slope goes up, that's when you take off your escape plan, just walk forward, reload, and you're going to wait around this area for your medic to arrow you. Then coming into choke, depending on where your demo man went, if your demo called to go left, then you can do this jump as pocket soldier, just rocket jump in choke, and then a wall jump on the left, and now you're on their Tetris, so you're taking space pretty early on. If your demo man went right side, then you could just walk through choke, and then single rocket jump up above your cafe. Roamers. You crouch in spawn, because you want your medic to be able to heal your demo man. Then once you're able to move, you walk forward, your medic should get you to 300, and you are doing a right side rocket jump off of this spawn door wall. Pogo on this top left platform and hit a ramp slide on the top left staircase. So jump, pogo, ramp slide, and you should be able to get to bats. From bats, there are three major different rollouts, and then any variation you want to do from that. The most common one you'll see is just, if you don't fuck it up like me, pogo off of that platform on second to get into choke, and then you can do a ramp slide through choke, just like on process, and maybe hit a fast rollout, but I suck at rocket jumping. Let me try to do it one more time. Something like that, but a little faster. And you can get to middle. The other thing is, or there's two more. One of the other things is, if your team has decided to go left, then as roamer, you can jump into your cafe. And what I do is, instead of going for the pack immediately, I hide behind this wall. Because if my team is going left, it's very likely that their team is going to go right side, and they might peek into cafe and see me early on. So I'm just hiding behind this wall, waiting for my team to call me in. Say, yes, they are in front of our cafe now, and that's my cue to go in. Versus if I expose myself pretty early on, and the enemy team sees me, then I'm kind of dead. In Newcomer, that's most likely not going to happen. I think most teams will not check Cafe, so you have a lot of freedom to just roam around this area for a little bit and catch them off guard. The Cafe rollout is usually only going to be a one-time thing, because if you do it, then the enemy team's going to be like, oh wow, their roamer rolls out Cafe. We're going to expect it the next time. And so if you do it again, then they just kill you. So it's more of like a surprise play, one-off kind of thing. The final rollout for roamers is you just walk off of bats, and around this pipe on the left is a where you start your left-handed jump. Pogo through valley and hit another ramp slide in valley to go really high in the air. This is usually what people refer to as the fast rollout. You can land on their demo man pretty quickly, if you want to. The better play, if you are able to, is land on top of their cafe and just shoot down onto them. Because you're still putting a lot of pressure onto the demo man, and you're living. Rather than landing on him and trading one for one, you're actually living and contributing even more to the mid-fight. Alright. Scouts and medic. Scouts should crouch and spawn. Wait for your medic to heal everyone. Once you're able to move, everyone walks out the left shutter door. Go through top left, go through bats, and it's around this area that I see a lot of scouts troll, in air quotes, their team. Because your pocket soldier is going to be like right there, and sometimes scouts just walk in a straight line at him. And this is how you troll your medic and pocket soldier, because your medic's trying to arrow this man, and you're in the way. So you are going to eat his arrow and delay everyone on their rollout. So as scout, on your rollout, actively try to avoid him. That's why I double jump up to this platform, and then I just stick to the side until he's arrowed. And then I walk into middle. Then, yeah, so that's the rollouts for every class. Let me just briefly talk about the mid-fight. Sunshine is a rotational mid-fight. That means your team will choose which side to go. Could be center, could be left, could be right. I will not be talking about the center mid-fight. Usually, teams default to going left. So if your demo man doesn't say anything, default to going left. Left is sort of the passive mid. You are not trying to confront them. You have an easy escape route of going through valley if things are going south. And it should just be that the enemy team is also going left, so non-confrontational for the most part. You guys just rotate around until someone fucks up. Right side is the more aggressive mid, because you are trying to go into them. You are actively trying to, like, meet their team and clash it out on mid. If you notice that they are going left and you don't want to meet them, then immediately fix your rotation and have people rotate to the right. Alright, so general mid-fight strategies, I'm going to be talking about left side, but all of the ideas I'm talking about for the left can be implemented on the right side as well. So Demo Man is kind of leading the charge, but not really. Your Demo Man is like just trying to put stickies into the enemy team, get people off of high ground, etc. Your scouts are kind of around your Demo Man and trying to get on some sort of high ground. But the main factor for scout is be aware of where their soldiers are. You should always be ready to intercept the enemy soldiers just in case they bomb at any point in time. So position yourself in a way that you can intercept them. Your soldiers are definitely going to be on some sort of high ground and making space for your team to actually walk on their rotation. How this works is your demo man is shooting high ground, getting the enemy team off of high ground, and allowing your soldiers to jump up there. Okay? So demo man shoots stickies, gets people off of it, and then your pocket soldier, for example, jumps up here and claims this space for your team, shooting down onto the enemy team, making a distraction, etc. And then your team continues to rotate across, okay? So then, once your team rotates across, like now they're over here, then your demo man is shooting the next area. For example, this roof or Tetris or something or Valley or whatever. So your demo man is actively shooting stickies in that area, getting people away from there. And then your pocket soldier, for example, jumps that area, okay? It's a, I don't want to say game of tag. I forgot what analogy I used before. But, oh, leapfrog. It's a leapfrog kind of thing. So your demo man is shooting the area, your soldier is taking the area. Then your demo man's shooting the next area, and your soldiers are taking the next area, and so on. That's how your explosive classes want to try to play this middle, if you're not doing anything aggressive. Meanwhile, your scouts are just like actively looking up in the sky, waiting for their soldiers to bomb. Alright, so that's the basic rotation. There's a lot more complex strategy that goes into the mid-fight. For example, double bombing. If your demo man does significant damage to the enemy team, then that could be a good indication that your soldiers immediately go in for a double bomb. Let's place some people down around here. So if your demo man does like 100 damage to their demo and scout, it doesn't need to be the medic, it can be anyone. Then your soldiers can bomb in together, shoot down onto those targets that damage was called on, and have the rest of your team walk across with them. That's the basic double bomb for every mid-fight in sixes. Demo does damage, soldier bombs, everyone walks in with them. And in my opinion, whoever gets aggressive first usually wins. If you notice the enemy team walking in death corner, that is a good indication that you should double bomb. Punish them for doing that. Get your team aggressive, walk across the point, kill people in this corner. However, you have to be pretty fast about it. If your soldiers are not on top of it, they don't notice it, then it's too late. You missed your window of opportunity to bomb them in the corner. Word of caution for your soldiers. Bell Tower is a double-edged sword. This is the best high ground in the mid-fight. You have easy access to shoot down onto them. It's kind of hard for them to shoot back at you, because you have a lot of corners and stuff. However, since it is the best high ground, they will definitely want to get you off of this high ground. So once you take this area and you shoot down onto them for like 1 or 2 rockets, you're probably going to want to jump away. Someone's going to be bombing you, maybe their demo man's shooting pipes and stickies at you. That is not a permanent place to be. Bell Tower is just a place to be for like 1 or 2 seconds, allowing your team to rotate across the point, and then you jump away. Heal priority for mid-fights. Your soldiers are low priority. If they are in a spot where they're not going to die, then as medic, you can try to arrow them. But definitely you want to keep your demo man and scouts alive, if possible. Your soldiers will probably want to rely more on health packs. So if you are near a cafe, then as soldier, just jump in cafe, grab the health pack, and now you're back in the fight. If you're near valley, just jump back in valley, grab the health pack, and now you're back in the fight. Medics want to try to heal as little people as possible, because the more people you're healing means the people that actually need it, your scouts and demo, get less healing overall because you're spreading it to everyone. Okay. Yes. That's the basic overview for the mid fight. Any questions about that?
Do you know any of like the main bombs that soldier will go for that like scouts need to watch out for?
Some of them. I don't know every bomb because I'm a medic player, but a bomb could be like from choke. That same kind of bomb that I used for Tetris. They could use that high wall to get to you. They can use bell tower on either side of the point. They can high bomb off of there and pretty much go anywhere. From on top of Cafe, the roof above Cafe, they can just pogo across the point and get on top of you. They can go from below the point and just surprise you by jumping up on your blind spot. From Bell Tower, if you are a good soldier, you can do like a mini hop and then try to go across, or if you're just walking across them, just a single jump across and land on high ground, which I missed. There's just a whole bunch. It's a small mid, so soldiers can get pretty much anywhere with one jump, and if it's a good soldier, then they will use high walls to go pretty high, so it's hard to deny them. I missed. Any wall you see is just a wall soldiers use to jump off of. Okay. Any other questions?
So, how would you go about playing or fighting a Pyro 1 mid?
My scouts shoot him. Why would you shoot
Yeah.
projectiles? He air blasts. Just shoot bullets at him.
Or like playing Pyro?
Yeah, so like if there's a pyro, let's see, am I on the right color? I'm not. If there's a pyro there, and I'm a blue scout, just play my distance, shoot him. He can't do shit to me, but I can do shit to him. If I'm a soldier, don't shoot the pyro. Shoot the person next to him. The reason why pyro's bad is because he's a short-range class. He needs to get up front to people. So the enemy team, all they have to do is play their distance and don't shoot projectiles at him. Any other questions? Okay. Then I'm going to be talking about how to defend and push points. So the way I do this is I start on my last, and I make my way pushing forward all the way to their last. So this would be defending our last now. There's two situations. It's either even, like it's a stalemate, no one's doing anything, or we are on disad, like uber disadvantage, like they have 100% and we don't, or it's numbers disadvantage, meaning they have everyone alive and we don't. The one I'm going to talk about first is when everything is even and it's a stalemate. How that usually plays out is Demo Man, wrong color. Demo Man on the left, you have a doorway that you trap, and you can spam pipes into lobby occasionally. Your medic is nearby healing your Demo Man. Some teams, alright, some teams play their pocket soldier, or I should say most teams, play their pocket soldier with the demo man, and whenever your demo man is getting ammo, then your pocket soldier takes over this area and shoots into lobby. If you have a scout, then your pocket scout would be with your medic. In my opinion, it's better if both scouts off-class for the last defense. And a good off-class is something like engineer with a sentry gun. Where I place the engineer is usually where the sentry gun is. Engineer there, engineer next to the cone, sentry gun next to the barrels. Sometimes I see sentry gun right here, like against this wall. Yeah, I think those are the most common spots I see. Your roamer is playing on the right side, just watching these doorways. And the other scout, something like sniper or pyro to reflect rockets away from the sentry gun, or heavy. In my opinion, spy is less commonly used because that is one person who is not contributing to the last defense. So sniper could be like over here near your roamer. You got this sight line watching the right side. If the enemy team respects you too much, then you can try to peek top left, but this is kind of a death zone for sniper. It's very easy for you to die here. So the most common spot is either playing back on the right, just holding this angle, or again, if the enemy team respects you, then you can try to peek a bit more aggressively on the right side in lobby. My team places both soldiers on the right side. And the reasoning for this is Demo Man is good enough to hold down this doorway. Demo Man should be able to hold this doorway effectively to the point where only one person will get through occasionally. And if that person gets through, then your scout or sentry gun should be able to deal with him. Meanwhile, there's two doorways here, and Roamer Soldier who's alone kinda sucks dealing with two doorways, so we place two soldiers over here to deal with it. And it's just double the spam, deterring anyone who's trying to get through.
And an important note here is that, you know, if oftentimes your other soldier, so this is probably what you're going to be your pocket soldier, can be doing things like spotting dungeon from on these stairs right here. And on the upper stairs right there, if you're actually on those stairs, that's a good anti-sniper sightline for the right side. You're going to be spotting dungeon, and if your demo ever calls they needs help, you can do a jump off that wall you're standing right next to on the grate thing, and you can easily be over to the left to help your demo spam. So there's a lot of things and reasons why you normally probably should just put your pocket soldier right there.
Yes. So common heavy spot would be like right next to your medic or right next to the point. When I played heavy, I played on these boxes, so I could like hide behind this wall if I was getting spammed early, or I could walk forward to the point to defend it. Usually teams make, or I should say heavies make this mistake of just standing on the point immediately. You don't need to be on the point until the enemy team is actually trying to cap it. You being on the point gives them 2 for 1, right? They shoot you, a person on the point, and they're shooting a heavy. Versus if you are back here, they have to decide whether they want to stand on the point or shoot the heavy. Or I should say shoot people on the point, for example, like a soldier who's trying to defend it, or a heavy who's just the best defensive class in the game. Besides something like a sentry gun, because that has aimbot. So, mistake I see heavies, they just stand on the point immediately. You can literally just stand to the side, wait for them to actually start getting on the point, and then walk forward to defend it. And then kite around corners if you're getting shot. Then come out the other side, right? Anyways. So that's even Ubers. Typically you're expecting a sack as medic to come in through the top left, or sometimes you might see a soldier sack through dungeon, but I don't really see that in the lower divisions as much. So most often you'll see a soldier sack coming from the top left. If you are expecting a sack, you can play this like goalie wash and essentially be playing next to the spawn door if you are not confident in your team. Like, You're waiting for that soldier to come in, you see him come in, you just dip into spawn, there's no way you're dying. This is a common goalie wash tactic, since goalie wash is literally the smallest last area in 6s. But since this map is a lot bigger, if you, as medic, play by spawn, that means you are not near your team. And so you are not healing your team, and so they can die. If you are confident that your team can protect you, you just stick a bit more back, but still within heal beam range of everyone. A major thing I notice from medics when they're on a stalemate is they rotate to their flank to heal them. So, like, a soldier over there is calling for medic, I often see medics walk across to heal this soldier. Don't do that, alright? Medics, you do not walk to your team. Your team walks to you. If they want to get healed, they either go back to spawn, get resupply cabinet, they stand there and get arrowed, or they walk up to you. Okay, you do not go to them. There's an important reason, which I'm not going to get into for time reasons. So that's even Ubers. Playing passive. Dumbleman, again, is holding the left side, but way more passive. That way, once the enemy team starts coming in, usually they come in from the left side, your Demoman can rotate to the right very quickly. Your soldiers are still holding this right side, and on Disad, in my opinion, it's very important that your soldiers actually hold down this area rather than give it up. Because the enemy team's plan, assuming that they're pushing from the top left, is to bust their flank on the right side. So it's very important that your soldiers stuff their flank and make it so that their flank cannot come in for the last fight. That's just my opinion, though. Higher level players might have a different opinion.
Yeah, and of course the way to counter that when you're the attacking team is remember that your players are not in the Uber, so you're both your soldiers and your flank scout are going to be able to do things. So oftentimes it's going to be something like you're going to have, as the attackers, you're going to have one of your soldiers be bombing from dungeon on top left late to help clear that out, and then your other soldier will be coming in from the side in there. Yeah, in there, and then the other soldier or the scout will choose either the soldier or which either soldier to follow up on, and that's normally how you break through left. Just the main thing is, when you're pushing last, you need to collapse with your flank and get your flank involved as a combo.
So on Uber Disad, it's if you have time, and that's kind of like an asterisk point, like what does if you have time mean? You'll get a good feeling for it as you play a lot, but if you have time, building up a sentry gun is much more preferable than having a heavy, because that sentry gun acts as a temporary 7th player on your team. Your sentry gun can die and it doesn't affect everyone else, because your engineer can just stand in spawn and then wait for your sentry gun to die, and then your engineer comes up a different off class. So if you have time, very preferable if you can build a gun somewhere, like right there, or over there, or I sometimes see it on Disad, I mentioned on these crates, or just like in the normal spot on the left, whatever. If you have time, sentry gun is a lot better. Otherwise, you're probably going to have a heavy around the point on either side of the point, and you're on Disad, right? So you don't have Uber yet. You're essentially a damage sponge at this point in time. You can play closer to spawn, I sometimes see that. Like, heavies are there to distract, maybe like the demo man sees you and he's like focus firing you down, then you just walk back into spawn and come out the other side. But if you definitely need to defend the point, then you're essentially just waiting behind this wall, waiting for the enemy team to walk forward. And then you walk forward to the point. Medics are going to be playing essentially near spawn. If you are confident in your team, then you can be in front of spawn. But I prefer to stand near the shutter door, wait for them to come in, with my scout who's maybe building Uber, and then we just rotate to the side that the enemy team is not on. So the safer way is to go through spawn. However, if you go through spawn, that means you are not able to heal your team, and so your team can die. Versus if you rotate outside of spawn, you can still heal people. But you are in danger of dying. Yes, so that's everyone. Demo left, soldiers right, off classes, medic. Any questions about holding last? Okay, then we're going to talk about pushing forward. Generally, whenever you decide to push forward, it's under one of two conditions, or multiple. You have uber advantage, or you have numbers advantage. If it's only like one person number advantage, that's not good enough. If it's two-person advantage, then maybe push forward if you're feeling confident in your team. And if it's three or more person advantage, definitely push forward. The enemy team cannot hold second with three or less people. In terms of uber advantage, I'm going to say a random number, and I'm going to say 30 or more percent. If you have a feeling that your uber percentage is 30 or more percent, then you can try to push forward and use your uber add-on to them. That's just a completely random number. It's going to be more dependent on whatever your team is comfortable with. So how you push out of last. Usually, Demo Man will come up the top left and just be getting into lobby, clearing areas like over here, maybe shooting sticky trap or something, clearing shutter, whatever. Your roamer will always go through dungeon, in my opinion. Your roamer will always go through dungeon because that is a soldier who can shoot dungeon and then walk towards the left, okay? Pocket soldier is going whatever side is closest. If left side is closer, then go through there. If right side is closer. If left side is closer, go through there. Same idea with medic. Usually you'll go through the left because that's usually where you're closer to, but if you're closer to the right side exit, then go through there. The idea is just get out to second as fast as possible. If you have to rotate over, then you're losing time. Pocket Scout will definitely go to wherever your medic is, okay? If your medic is on the opposite side of the map of you, go to them. Flank Scout, if your team is not feeling confident pushing out, then you can leave your Flank Scout on some sort of off class to defend last. Otherwise, Flank Scout usually just trails behind the combo wherever their combo is going. There are 3 doorways here. I consider these 2 things as one doorway. So there's bats, lower lobby, and shutter. Those are your 3 doorways, so there's 3 different ways to push out of last. Excuse me as I drink some water.
Bats is the spot right there at the top of the stairs, right?
Yes,
Okay.
this area is bats or balcony. Right. So it's completely dependent on, or let me back up a little bit. I forgot about dungeon. That's a 4th doorway, but you'll almost never push through dungeon. That's just a dead zone. Usually, teams will try to poke out through bats because it's the closest doorway to them. Like, Demo Man is already right here. Like, he's going to maybe try to poke through here. But you have to be careful because there could be stickies around this corner. So you can place like a sticky on the floor and a sticky on the top left there, and you can scatter any stickies that are close. So you get through as Demo Man, shoot across, make space, right? You're shooting stickies at concrete area on the left, whatever. You're primarily going to be shooting the right side. So you're shooting stickies over here, getting people away, and you're making space for your soldiers to bomb. And then something like your pocket soldier bombs forward and takes that
was
space.
tight. I like that.
It's the leapfrog thing I was talking about on middle. Demo Man opens up the area, soldier takes the area. So that's the idea for pushing through bats. It's going to be almost the exact same thing no matter what doorway you push through. It's just different on how you get through it. So for example, on shutter door, could be stickies on the ground. So you want to be very quick in peeking this doorway so that you don't die. If there's stickies here, go a different way. It's kind of hard to deal with this. And if there aren't, there could be stickies above it. So usually teams don't go through shutter. The final way is bottom left, lower lobby. You can walk forward as much as you can with your Demo Man, Scout, and Medic, Pocket Scout and Medic. And the idea here is you're trying to use Uber pretty aggressively onto them. So you walk forward through lower lobby as much as you can without dying. Like, that's going to be pretty much on the call of your medic on when they want to use. Walk forward as much as you can. Try to catch them out. The enemy team is usually going to be playing around this area. So you get your Demo Man to jump forward, land like on top of them, Scout and Medic walk forward, and you just fuck them all up with your Uber advantage. Otherwise, if you don't want to do that, you can walk up the staircase on Valley side and just take like this side of the point with your combo. It's kind of important here that your combo coordinates with your flank. That's the word, coordinate. If your combo is taking this left side of second, then your flank definitely needs to hold down the right side. It's very vulnerable for the enemy team, for you guys, if the enemy team just walks in the right side and goes behind you. So your flank definitely needs to lock down the right side if your combo's coming to the left. And vice versa, if your combo's going on the right side, then your flank definitely needs to lock down the left side. You can't let anyone get behind you or else you just lose to a back capper. Alright, so bats is kind of a dry push door. You're just trying to make space. And lower lobby is kind of the aggressive door. We're just going to immediately bomb onto them. That's just the guideline. It's not how it's going to go all of the time. You can mix and match. You can say that lower lobby is the dry push door and bats is the aggressive use Uber door. It doesn't matter. It's just the guideline of what I've seen people do. Tip for medics is you can jump from this corner of bats and land on that corner of second on the concrete. Let me get on medic so I can show you. So if you practice this jump of jumping strafe, you can land on concrete and it's both ways. It's very easy if you have scout speed, but you can do this with medic speed. You cannot do this as any other class, except maybe spy. It has to be a class that has extra movement speed. So you can do that to get immediately on second, rather than just jumping off of bats and climbing up the spiral staircase. Okay, so that's the way you push out of second. How you actually get onto second is very dependent on how your team plays. You just gotta be well coordinated, bully the enemy team out. Okay, hold down all your doors, make sure no one gets behind you. You have the high ground here, so just shoot down onto them. In my opinion, scouts should prioritize capping the point. The longer you don't cap the point means the more threat of a back cap there is, okay? If you as scout decide to continue chasing forward and don't cap, that enables the enemy team to just walk behind you at any point in time and back cap you. So in my opinion, scouts should be trying to cap second as fast as possible. Okay. So that's pushing out. Now I'm going to talk about holding second on even Ubers. So Demo Man is around that area, wrong color. Demo Man is like around your forward spawn. Medic and Scout are a little bit more passive on concrete. And Pocket Soldier is the one who's watching Cafe. You are not actively holding that, you're just watching it. Your flank is watching Flowers or Valley, whatever you want to call it. And since you guys do not own the point, you are waiting for them to sack. So whoever owns middle is the first team that sacks in. So since you are expecting them to sack in, your scouts and medics should be watching the airspace, waiting for their soldier. Once you see him, you're expecting him, you can dodge him. I see sometimes medics dodge onto the point, and this is kind of a death zone. It's a very enclosed area. If a soldier splashes you and knocks you around, it's very easy for you to just get caught in this area and then you die. So you definitely want to be playing outside of the point and surfing around, like onto bats maybe. Alright. So, counter sacking. Once you see that they sacked in, they send their soldier in, he dies, go for a counter sack. Just the biggest tip I can give you is counter sack as quickly as you can, as quickly as feasibly possible, okay? Don't go in if you're 50 health. Go in around full health, or if you have overheal. Overheal is preferred, because then it's more likely you'll get the medic. But the closer you can sack at the same time that they sack, the better, alright? That's because the longer you delay your sack, the faster their player is going to respawn. And so you just want to match up your respawn timers as much as you can. How you would go about counter sacking is just go in, right? You can do the fast roll out here in Valley. All the way back here, Roamer, you start here, pogo through Valley, do a huge jump all the way through. You can't just walk forward as much as you can. You have a high wall here to jump off of. Or you can just go through choke, right? You got this wall, so you start like back here, and then you do a left wall through choke. Just go in. Don't need to do anything fancy. Alright. The pocket soldier over here. What I mentioned about watching this is you can stand like right here, and this is it. You're just watching this area. If you need health, back up. You're still watching it, you're still watching it. Medic heals you, you go back into position. That's it. That's all you do as Pocket Soldier. I do not want to see Pocket Soldier this deep. This is how you die, alright? Even though you have a health pack here. All it takes is the demo man rotating over here, a soldier jumping through this area, they take a 3v1 on you, you just wasted your life for nothing. Another good spot for Pocket Soldier, if you're not doing that, is on this wall. On this wooden wall. You have high ground, you shoot down onto them. The only person who can really deal with you is the enemy demo man. Like, what is a soldier gonna do? Direct you? Just move out of his rockets. The only person who can deal with this spot is the enemy demo man, so it's just really good at pestering the enemy team. It's not good at anything else. Like, all you're doing is increasing your damage. You're not really doing anything valuable. Alright. That's defending on even Ubers. On disad, medics play bats. Scout is with them building if you do not have Uber yet. Your flank is still watching Valley. Your demo man is watching a trap somewhere, either on concrete or on bats with your combo. And your pocket soldier is also playing passive on bats, alright? In this way, your medic should be able to get out as the enemy team is coming in. The reason why your roamer is over here by Valley pretty aggressively is that he can jump away at any time, right? They're pushing through Valley, jump backwards. Now you're in lower lobby. They're pushing through choke, jump backwards. Now you're in lower lobby. They're pushing through cafe, jump forward. Jump onto the enemy medic. Right? So, the roamer here, he is able to escape if needed, alright? That's the major thing, though. He needs to be ready to escape if needed. But for the most part, your roamer is going to be the one who sacks onto the enemy medic as they walk through a choke point. So you are on disad. The general idea for 6s is you send in one person, who is usually your roamer, to sack in onto the enemy team as they walk in. Not before that, but as they walk in, you go in and jump onto them. So they walk in through choke, they got people over here, then you could do like a jump right here, you jump forward, then you have a left wall jump, you go high in the sky, land on their medic. The pocket soldier can also do that, because you have the tower to jump off of, you have a high wall to jump off of. But most commonly it's going to be this guy on the left. Okay. Any questions about holding second? Let me talk about this hiding spot before I move on. Right here. Oh, I missed. There. So I am not holding any buttons right now. It's just there's a small ledge right here that you can stand on if you are able to get up here as any class. But the enemy team can see you if they just look up, right? This spot is only good if they do not look at you. You can shoot down onto them, and if you don't, and you're still hidden, then they walk through, and then you jump down onto them, right? This spot is pretty bad once people know about it, so assuming you know about it and you are the team who's pushing in, just look up and you'll see the guy. Otherwise, the other most common hiding spot is just around the corner. You'll often see like a scout or soldier standing here, and it's essentially a free kill, right? If you're expecting it, which pocket scouts should be as you're clearing traps, right? Like you're clearing any traps around that corner, you look around this corner, you see the guy and you two-shot him.
Yes, sir.
Alright, pushing forward. 3 doorways. Valley, choke, cafe. They are all viable. You can push through any of them. The general idea is Valley is the most aggressive doorway. The reason is because it is the closest doorway to the enemy team. So usually if you're pushing through Valley, you're pushing off of Uber advantage and you're trying to use your Uber aggressively onto them. So you get your demo man, scout, and medic over here in Valley pretty quickly, and you just Uber on through and jump onto the enemy team. That's the idea for a Valley push. Choke push. It's gonna be kind of like process choke, if you watched my map review of process, where you get your pocket soldier to jump through this choke point first, turn around, see if there's anyone here, look up at cafe, see if there's anyone hiding on top of that, and then you can just jump backwards. Jump back to your team. The idea here is your pocket soldier is kind of expendable, but the real idea is he's drawing attention to himself rather than your combo. He's making space for your team by drawing attention, and he's also clearing a lot of area, making sure that it's safe for your team to walk through. So that's why you send your pocket soldier through first. Afterwards, he can jump back because he did his job. He doesn't need to die there for it. If you see a guy in front of you, then you can just land on him and shoot him down, right? The rest of your team, after your pocket soldier says everything is clear, they can begin walking through and start taking space. So choke is kind of a dry push door. However, you have to be very careful because the enemy team should be planning on sacking onto your medic. So typically as medic, I'm like standing back in choke, waiting for their soldiers to bomb. I see that their soldiers are bombing pretty high because I see them in the sky, and I just back up around the corner. They can't kill me anymore. So I'm baiting in choke until my team gives me the all clear, and if they don't and say soldiers are bombing, then I'm backing up. Otherwise, like no soldiers, I can just walk forward and be with my team. What your flank wants to do. So in any push that happens, what your flank wants to do is go through a doorway that your combo is not. If your combo's pushing Valley, don't go there. Go a different doorway. Like Roamer can go through choke, and flank scout can go through cafe. If your combo's going through choke, then your flank can go through Valley. And if your combo is going through cafe, then, you know, your flank can go through choke, whatever. Just go through a different doorway so that you are clearing a different area that your combo is not. The other thing is for your flank, don't go in immediately. Wait for your combo to actually go into middle before you commit in as flank scout or roamer soldier. The biggest mistake I see from flank members is that they either go in at the same time as their combo or before their combo. And that's how you die pretty early on these pushes, because the enemy team sees you and they're like, oh, it's just one guy on the flank. Let's take a 6 versus 1 onto him. Versus they see your combo and they're like, oh shit, that's 4 people coming at us. Let's retreat. Right? So you want to come in a little bit after your combo, and then the enemy team is distracted onto them. That's your cue to actually jump forward on middle. I kind of messed up the jump there, so you can take space on Bell Tower, for example, and shoot down onto them. Okay. Yeah, and then there's like a bunch of high walls you can jump off of, for example, like right here. Well, I kind of messed it up. If I did it better, I could land inside of their choke. Alright, and then cafe push, kind of the same idea as choke. It's just, you're closer to their choke, so you can like rotate over to the right side and try to cut them off. That's kind of the idea of going cafe. It's a little bit more dangerous because you have no clue what's above you. You gotta get your pocket soldier through first and potentially shoot the guy above, and then your combo can walk through. So, cafe is kind of the same idea as choke, where you're just trying to dry push, but the idea is maybe you can catch them out at their choke. Alright. And then finally how you choose a doorway is just whatever's closest. If you're already close to cafe, just go through cafe. If you're already close to valley, just go through valley. Right? If you have to spend time rotating to the doorway that you want to go through, then that's time you're wasting and allowing the enemy team to build up their Uber. So just whatever door is closest is typically the one you're going to go through. Alright. Defending middle. So even Ubers. Demo Man should be a bit closer, like around there. Is in their choke, guarding their choke, like spamming pipes over the wall. Flank Scout is going to be the primary person who watches Valley. Pocket Soldier is the primary person who watches Cafe. Medic and Pocket Scout are going to kind of be in between choke and Valley. You'll almost never rotate over to Cafe as Medic unless your team is planning to push through there. Otherwise, like, you're playing around this general area. And your roamer is getting ready to go for a sack. Since you guys own middle, it's on your team to send in the first sack. Right? So your roamer's getting ready, he's choosing where to go through. The most common sack is through choke. You just do a right wall jump here, left wall jump there. I messed it up. I suck at rocket jumping. Right, left, I hit my head. You get the idea though. And then, if you hit it correctly, you're gonna land like around this area. So you're landing on the medic, you have 2 rockets remaining. Try to kill him. The second most common sack is through Valley. It doesn't matter where through Valley, it's just Valley's the second most common. So you can start all the way back here on Tetris and kind of do a reverse fast rollout. Oh, I kind of got bugged right there. Took me out of my ramp slide. But yeah, you do some sort of ramp slide here, and then around this area you can jump again, and you go pretty high up in the sky and very fast towards them. Another one is starting all the way right here, all the way pretty deep into Valley. You got this high right wall to jump off of, kind of like that, and if you're a better rocket jumper than me, then you can get more distance and land on their medic. The other thing is from choke. Instead of going for their medic, as roamer, you can land on their flank. So for example, they could have their flank around this area, right? So as your pocket scout, flank scout, medic are like pulling attention towards Valley, as roamer, you can jump through choke. Oh, God, I hate jumping. I'm such a bad jumper. Oh my god. Jump through choke and land on these people. So you're taking them by surprise. The enemy combo's expecting you to land on them. You land on their flank at the same time that your scouts walk forward, and you take a 3 versus 2 onto these people. Then you get the flank kills, and that busts open second for your team. So that's something you may consider. Otherwise, if you're not doing those common jumps, then it's just however you want to get in. Like, just jumping forward, maybe landing on the demo, whatever. Going through cafe, I think there's a pogo on this wall through the doorway. If you go low enough, there's a pogo right here that you can go pretty far. Yeah, and then just any jump to get in, whatever you want to do. Get in, sack, come up and off class if you want to. Alright. Pushing is going to come later. Next is when you're on disad. So there's 2 positions for your medic. One of them is your cafe, with a scout building Uber if you don't have it, or your choke. Either one of these is valid, it's just you're near the exit so that you can leave once the enemy team comes in. Your demo man has a trap somewhere and then plays back wherever your medic is. You got your soldiers on high ground. Most common hiding spot is above their cafe. Maybe like there or there or something. Maybe a soldier near your medic to get 300 and then he sacks. And then your scout is just in a position where he's gathering information, right? So I might place my flank scout on this balcony ledge thing just for vision purposes, right? I can see into Valley, I don't need to see in choke because my soldier has that handled, but the point is I can see if they're coming through Valley and I get that early call for my team. The soldier on bell tower, this is usually the pocket soldier. You can stand like over here, you can see into choke, you can shoot into Valley, you can shoot into cafe. And then the roamer most commonly is above cafe, or like around forward spawn, but whatever, this is the high ground. Then they have this wall to jump off of, they can go high in the sky, sink rockets onto the medic. Right, so that's the passive hold. Everyone else should be able to get out and live while your roamer is sacking, but that's not to say don't support your roamer. Like, once he goes in for the sack, maybe shoot 3 rockets at them and then jump away. Okay, alright. That's all I wanted to say for middle. Any questions about holding middle?
Cricket sound at MP4.
Yeah. I forgot to mention on the mid fight, as soldier, this is usually like I want to say pocket soldier, honestly. During the mid-fight, you can roll out, and if you aren't jumping onto any high ground immediately, you can shoot like right here at their staircase, at their choke. You can shoot under the point in that crack and then rotate with your team. Alright. So pushing second. 3 doorways again, and they are all viable, but the most common two are choke and valley. I have seen cafe used a lot, but not as often as choke and valley. So choke and cafe are typically your dry push doors, and they typically proceed. I don't know if that's the right word. They unravel. I still don't know if that's the right word. The same way, like if you're trying to dry push in, you just get your soldier to jump through, make space for your team, maybe like land around this health pack, and draw attention to himself. Right? He's drawing attention to himself so that the attention is not on your combo. Then your combo can walk through. What I like to do as medic most of the time is I just immediately walk towards left into cafe anyways, the cafe side. Because if I walk forward through choke, I am placing myself closer to the enemy team, making it easier for them to get onto me. So if I play my distance, just rotate around, then my team can play our distance as we make our way into second. So Demo Man is doing the leapfrog thing again, where I was mentioning. You're shooting stickies, making people get out of that area, and then your soldier takes that area. So you're shooting like over there with your stickies, your soldier is now taking this space. So it's securing that area for your team, then your team walks forward, Demo Man shoots more stickies forward, and then your soldiers can take more space, right? So you're going to see that a lot in 5CP. A lot in 6s, I guess. What your flank does is go through the door that your combo is not. So in this example, your combo is going through cafe or choke, so your flank would probably be pushing through valley. Right? So let me get over there. I have no clip. Why do I keep forgetting? Which soldier is typically leapfrogging with the demo, or does it even matter? In the beginning, it's going to be the pocket soldier. The pocket soldier should always be with your combo, right? But as the fight progresses, both soldiers should be in the fight anyways, so it doesn't matter who. But in the beginning, it's pocket soldier. So your flanks in valley, and again, the same principle applies. Don't go in first. Don't go in at the same time. Wait for your combo to actually commit in, draw attention to them, and then you as flank walk into second. Be careful still, there could be like stickies around the corner or people are hiding in the lobby trying to maybe get onto your medic as they commit in, like doing some sort of high bomb here. So careful as you walk forward and assess the situation for yourself, make judgment. If you're a soldier and you see like your combos pushing forward, you can jump those people. I messed up the jump. You can jump those people, land on high ground, secure this area with your team together. If you're a flank scout, you're probably just capping, honestly. And then your team can roll forward into last. Alright, so that's cafe and choke. If your combo is pushing through valley, this doorway is typically the aggressive we're using Uber immediately doorway. And the reason is because you have some sort of advantage. You send your demo man in to jump forward and lock off exits. So like he shoots bats or whatever, he shoots shutter door, he shoots dungeon, whatever. He's locking down the exits. At the same time, your scout and medic are walking forward, and you are focus firing down people who are caught in. So ideally that would be the medic, but if it's not, just shoot whoever's in. Get that numbers advantage and take that numbers advantage into last. So your demo's locking down the exits, scout shooting down people. Your soldier, at the same time, the pocket soldier, can be watching what's happening, waiting for a little bit, because if you jump in immediately, you are probably not in the Uber, right? Since you are not in the Uber, the enemy team is going to shoot you. You are not invulnerable, you die. So you wait a couple seconds, see what's happening, and then you can jump forward onto people who are confused and frazzled and whatnot. And then same idea, flank, go through a doorway that your combo is not. So that could be like cafe. Your flank is pushing through cafe, be careful, there could be people hiding around corners, stickies and stuff. And see what's happening. Wait a little bit. Once the Uber is over or something, you can jump forward and help your combo. Okay, so that's pushing into second. Defending second. Or rather, attacking there last, I should say. First, I'm going to talk about disad, because that's easier. So if you are on disad, but you own their second, then your medic is typically going to be playing back by cafe, with your pocket scout building Uber if you do not have it. You got your demo man placing a trap somewhere, like common trap on the point, shutter door, bats, lower lobby, whatever. Could be like on this wall on the corner. Trap somewhere. I think I see Pocket Soldier kind of aggressive on concrete sometimes, but I'm not sure, I never look at him. And then flank is around this area on the right side watching lower lobby. So your roamer, who's on the right side, is preparing to sack onto the medic once the enemy team walks in. That's the same idea no matter the map. On disad, roamer's getting ready to sack on the medic as the enemy team walks in. So if they're walking through lower lobby, really easy spam onto them. Yeah, go on. Okay, I guess that was not a question. If they're pushing bats, you know, you have a high wall to jump off of. You don't even need to use that high wall. I don't know why I keep failing that. You don't even need to use this high wall, you go pretty high anyways, and you can land on the medic on bats. If they're going through shutter door, then you can use the high wall and land onto them. Alternatively, this pocket soldier who's near your medic can also do that. So he does this like left wall jump pogo onto them, obviously better than I would. Or you can use the tower, the spire, whatever you want to call it, and you go pretty stupid invisible walls. If you don't hit the invisible walls, then you can use this. Otherwise, if you're not doing fancy jumps, just however you want to get in. It's not important the way you sack as much as the concept of sacking and getting on the medic in these lower level divisions. Okay. So that's playing passive. Alternatively, your medic could be like in choke building if you want to. Most teams prefer cafe because you have more vision on the enemy team. Like you can see lower, you can see if the shutter door is opening. You can shoot across the point pretty easily as medic with your crossbow. Versus in choke, you can't really see lower. You can only see bats. You can't. If you stand here, you can see shutter, but if you're playing over here, you can't, right? And it's hard to shoot across point. But choke is the more direct pathway out to middle. So that's playing passive, holding the point aggressively. So this would be like even Ubers, you're getting ready to either push last or sack onto last. The regroup point, where you are not in lobby yet, you're just regrouping, formulating a plan. Demoman is usually aggressive here on concrete, like trapping shutter, trapping bats. Pocket soldier is around, pocket scout is around, and medic is around. Pocket soldier could also be over here, shooting into lobby. Flank, again, is on the wooden platform on the right, kind of peeking into lower lobby, seeing what's happening. What I was told a long time ago is usually your flank comes into lobby first and just clears the area, like shooting stickies away from the shutter or whatever. Just clearing this area, making sure it's safe for your team. And then your combo can walk through the shutter door, right? Because if you just walk in blindly, maybe you're walking into a trap. Otherwise, if you're not doing that, you can just send your combo through lower lobby, and now you're in lobby. Lower lobby is also typically how you avoid sniper sightlines. There is only 2 sightlines, I guess. One is lower, but the major one is on the far left. And how you deal with that one is, you know, you just shoot him. You can get a guy to peek shutter door and shoot him with rockets. You can get a guy to peek bats and shoot him with rockets, right? Just shoot him away. And then you just walk into lobby. Positions for lobby. Typically, Pocket Soldier is watching the left side, not holding it. You're just making sure the enemy team cannot walk over here. If you're feeling comfortable and confident, then you can peek it every so often and shoot at them. But when I play Pocket Soldier, I typically don't do that, because then I just eat a shit ton of spam for nothing. I'm just shooting this area occasionally. Flank Scout watching lower. Pocket Scout flexes in between, whatever needs help. It's usually going to be the top right area, shooting stickies. Demoman is on top right, contesting their Demoman, and Medic is kind of in between everyone. Your Roamer Soldier is getting ready to sack. You guys own middle, you guys go for the first sack. So, usually, I mentioned when we are defending last, you'll see a sack very often come from the top left, and that's because it's very easy to do it from the top left, or in this case, the top right. You can either start on this lower square platform, or just like on this divider wall. The idea is pogo right here, and you go pretty deep into the right side of the last, where the medic is. Dungeon is another common sack. It's hard for me to do it because I suck at rocket jumping, but you can either use the left wall, which is a bit further away, to jump onto the medic. I kind of hit my body on the tower, but if I didn't, you could see how much momentum I have, or you can use the right wall to jump towards the medic. But I suck at rocket jumping. Like that. Alright. While your soldier is sacking, your team should be helping your soldier sack, so your Demoman can get a bit more aggressive, peek this doorway aggressively, and try to shoot the enemy medic. Soften him up so that your soldier has an easier time killing the medic. Pocket Soldier can, like, peek aggressively on the left. If there's no one here, you can shoot across at the medic, right? You are supporting your sack. You never want to just have your roamer go in alone. You always want to have your team support your roamer. Alright. If you have a sniper, common sniper sightline is on the left. You can peek at their flank, kill their flank off, and that opens up the left side. Oh, that scared me. So you kill their flank, you got this entire left side, you can peek pretty aggressively at their medic. Dungeon is less commonly used because this is kind of a death zone for snipers. It just takes one soldier to shoot down onto you and you die. But if the enemy team allows you to be here, like they're giving up too much space, you can easily just walk up these staircase and get a pretty good sightline onto the medic. And then finally, top right is again kind of a death zone because the Demoman is locking this area down. But if you get the timing right and the Demoman is reloading or something, you can peek around the corner and take shots at the medic. Right. If anyone dies, get out of lobby. It doesn't matter if you have 5 people alive, get out of lobby. Anyone dies, you're out of lobby and you go back to your holding positions. Once you have everyone back alive, you can go back into lobby. It is very easy for the enemy team to just crunch you at any point in time. Their Demoman gets aggressive on the left, their soldiers get aggressive on the right, and you guys are just getting crunched in lobby, all of you die there. So if you ever lose 1 or more people, get out of lobby. Right. Pushing into last. There's 3 doorways, right? There's top right, dungeon, left side. Typically, you're only ever going to either use top right or left. Sometimes you'll use dungeon, but that's more of we're on very small ad, we're trying to use immediately onto them, and we are trying to go in as a surprise play kind of thing. That's how I consider dungeon pushes. Otherwise, you're going to pick the more traditional left or right side. So pushing on right side is the traditional Uber push. You just Uber on your demo man. He jumps forward, like over here. And then the rest of your Uber is on your scout, who's walking forward a little bit. Alright, your demo man who's on the right side is either trapping the point, shooting across at the enemy team, or trapping the spawn door. You can do 2 out of the 3, but I do not recommend doing all 3 of those. Try to stick with 2 or 1 of those. You'll notice I placed the demo man on high ground. A common mistake I see is demo men walk forward off of the high ground. Do not do that. You do not want to walk into the enemy team as demo man, right? You want to play your distance and do not be a major figure for the enemy team is the best way I can describe it. Do not be on their priority list. You want to have other people be on their priority list and just play your distance, provide long-range support, like trapping the point. Someone like your scout is capping the point, baiting the capture point. Someone has to stand on it to deny that. So, if you have your trap there, you detonate and you kill the guy. Right? At the same time, if your Uber is looking like it's going well, which is very subjective, and there's no real easy way to determine if it's going well other than you're like completely fucking them. But if you think your Uber is going well, at that point in time, your combo should call your flank in, because your flank is not committing in yet. They're waiting for your combo to say, yes, come in, right? They're waiting in lobby for your call. So if you think it's going well, call your flank in. What your flank is doing is they are just, that's the wrong color. They're just waiting on the opposite side. Flank scout can trail the combo, but more often flank scout's on the other side. They're waiting on the opposite side, just peeking this area, waiting for your combo to call them in, right? Your combo says, yes, come in, jump in, flank them, whatever. That's your cue to get aggressive, jump in onto them, and sandwich the enemy team, alright? Otherwise, if you are not waiting for that call, then as a flank member, which includes the pocket soldier in this case, as a flank member, look at what the enemy team is doing and see if there is a good opportunity for you to just jump forward in onto them. Like, for example, no one is over here. That could be a good indication that you can just walk in, take this space, shoot down onto them. Or they're distracted on your combo, they're not looking at you. You can walk forward and shoot down on, or not shoot down, but shoot the thing that they're standing on. Jump on high ground is always good as soldier. If you did not know, you can stand on this wall, right in front of the point, and you shoot down onto them. And then, as M17 pointed out, they could be holding left side pretty aggressively with their soldiers and stuff. So how you break that is typically you get your soldier, it does not matter which one, you get a soldier to draw attention over on the left, draw attention to yourself, you have a health pack here, make it so that those soldiers are looking at you, and then at the same time, the other soldier, it doesn't matter which one, jumps in from lower onto these players, right? So you're taking them by surprise, and again, at the same time, as your soldier jumps in, the rest of your flank comes in and collapses onto those players. So that's typically how you break up this double soldier on the left. Okay, and then left side push is the same idea. If your combo's coming in from the left, you know, Demoman plays his distance, Scout and Medic use the remaining Uber to maybe try to kill someone. Otherwise, you're playing on your side of the point, and then your flank comes in on the opposite side, maybe taking high ground. Right. Any questions about pushing into the enemy's last or holding the enemy team's second point? Okay, any questions about Sunshine in general? Okay, then that's going to be it for this map talk. Thank you for coming. Bye, I guess.
Thank you very